All right, let's dive right in, shall we? Today's deep dive is, well, a little bit unsettling, to be honest.
Oh, should I be worried?
Well, maybe not worried, but definitely intrigued. We're going to be looking at how narratives are controlled in societies.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Controlling narratives, that's a pretty big topic.
It is. And we've got this excerpt here. It really lays out this three-step process, and it's kind of spooky, just how effective it can be.
Yeah.
This process for shaping how people think and act, it's
It's fascinating, isn't it? I mean, it's something that's been going on for ages, but like the methods they use, they just keep adapting. It's more important now than ever to understand these principles, especially with how like fast information spreads these days.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what we're here for, right, to break it down. So this first phase is called demoralization.
Mhm.
But it's not just about, like, making people feel sad or demoralized, is it?
No, no, not at all. It's much deeper than that. Think of it like systematically breaking down a society's core, you know? Their spirit, their trust in each other, their institutions.
Yeah, the excerpt actually mentions propaganda and disinformation as tools for this. Like, if you think
Mm.
back to pre-World War II Germany,
Right, right.
the Nazi regime, they used propaganda to, like, chip away at people's faith in democracy. It
Absolutely.
made them so much more vulnerable to the Nazi ideology.
Yeah.
Subtle, but so powerful. What are some other signs, would you say, that a society might be in this demoralization phase?
Well, I think it can be tough to spot at first, right? It's almost like watching something unravel in slow motion.
Hmm.
But you start to see uh, a rise in cynicism. Like more and more people just become apathetic towards
Yeah,
institutions.
like they just don't care anymore.
Right. And then this breakdown of shared values starts to happen. People are questioning everything, feeling like they can't trust anything or anyone. The traditional sources of information, authority figures, it all starts to crumble.
It's like that foundation of trust is just eroded away.
Exactly. And that's the key because once you erode the trust, people become so much easier to manipulate.
Right, you shatter that shared reality.
Yeah.
And then you can start slipping in a new one,
Exactly.
which takes us to stage two, right?
Okay.
Destabilization. And this is where things start to get really unsettling, I think.
Yeah, I agree. It's about amplifying the cracks that were created during that demoralization phase, right? So you start disrupting social systems, economic systems, political
It's
systems.
like creating chaos,
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah. Think widespread strikes, economic crises, maybe even manufactured conflicts, things that turn people against each other.
So it's like creating an environment where everyone's just on edge all the time.
Exactly. Fear, anger, division, it just becomes the norm. If you look at what happened during the Cold War, both sides used disinformation and propaganda to sow discord and instability in rival nations. It was a textbook example of this destabilization phase.
It's almost like laying the groundwork then for the final phase,
Yeah, unfortunately, it sets the stage perfectly for what comes next.
normalization. And this is the part that, I don't know about you, but this part really sends chills down my spine.
I get it.
It's like by the time chaos just becomes the norm, people are just so exhausted, so desperate for some kind of stability
Yeah.
that they'll accept anything.
Right. Even if it means giving up their freedoms.
Exactly.
It's all about shifting the baseline. What was once unthinkable, it slowly becomes everyday life.
It just becomes, oh, yeah, that's just how things are now.
Exactly. Authoritarian control, like restricting free speech, controlling the media, using surveillance to keep tabs on people.
It becomes the new normal.
Yeah, and people start to believe that this new reality, this undesirable situation, is just the natural order of things.
And that's what's so scary
Yeah,
about it, right?
yeah.
But the source we're looking at here, it really emphasizes that awareness and resistance are crucial for combating this whole process.
Oh, absolutely.
But what can, just the everyday person do to actually push back against this?
Yeah.
Because it feels so huge, like where do you even begin?
Well, it has to start with you. First and foremost, sharpen your critical thinking skills. Question everything. Don't just read headlines, dig deeper. Seek out diverse perspectives. Don't just stay in your little echo chamber. And fact check relentlessly,
Fact check.
especially information that confirms your existing biases. And be willing to engage in respectful dialogue, even with people who have different views than your own. You might be surprised at what you learn.
It's so important, right? It's not about being cynical or distrusting everything, but being an active participant in how you understand the world.
I couldn't agree more.
Wow. Okay, we really went top on this today. Demoralization, destabilization, normalization. It's a chilling playbook. It really is. for manipulating entire societies.
It is, but like with any playbook, if you know your opponent's strategy, you can start to build your defense.
That's a great point.
So here's something to think about. If you were designing a counter strategy to protect a society from these very tactics that we've been discussing, where would you begin? And what would be your key focus?
That's a powerful question to leave everyone with.
It's a lot to think about.
It really highlights how crucial it is to be informed and engaged. To everyone listening, keep diving deep, keep asking those questions, and be mindful of the information you're consuming. Stay curious, stay informed, and stay empowered.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And that's our deep dive for today. We'll see you next time.
See you then.